Great. Hello and welcome. This is Christy Gammon with doTERRA Essential Oils Team Share and Shine, coming to you live with our beautiful new Healthy Hormones class. I am so excited that you're joining me, either live or for the recording. It makes me equally glad to know that you're about to receive some really important information, and I hope it absolutely blesses your body, mind, and spirit. So without further ado, please find a quiet spot, grab a favorite beverage, a notebook, and pen, because this class is absolutely full of information that you're going to write down, receive for yourself, and that you're going to want to share with others. I can almost guarantee that. I tonight am sipping on a red raspberry leaf tea, so cheers to you. I'm just going to take little sips of that periodically to keep my voice strong for us, because there is so much information here to cover. But my red raspberry leaf tea is highly intentional, and so I want to start by just giving some benefits of this amazing herbal tea and why you would want to drink it to support your hormones. I have a variety of resources that I'm going to read from. I always recommend that you do your own research. My tea is Dr. Christopher's, but there are a number of brands that you can get in local health stores or online that would serve you really well. But what you're looking for is the red raspberry leaf tea, which actually drinks kind of like a black tea. So not a red color or a fruity raspberry flavor, just more of a plain herbal tea, soothing kind of flavor. It's a great evening tea, in my opinion. It reminds me of the kind of tea my grandma used to drink before bed. I don't put milk in mine like she used to in hers. But it absolutely does pair really well with maybe just one chocolate chip cookie. And if you need a healthy recipe with that, using no sugar, you let me know and I will hook you up with that. But red raspberry leaf tea, let me tell you just a few benefits you can expect and why this supports our hormone health and actually our general health. It's high in magnesium, potassium, iron, and B vitamins. It can be helpful for nausea and leg cramping, which may improve sleep. It has astringent properties, which make it soothing for insides and outsides. Anyone can use it for sunburn, eczema, rashes, and other skin irritations. It can also improve gum disease. It's high in vitamins B, C, E, which are helpful for their immune properties and for energy. It's a great detoxifier. Now, this is beneficial to both men and women. Men are exposed to hormones every day, just like we are in the foods we consume, that are laden with estrogen in the form of soy. Regular use helps detoxify these hormones and may even help improve testosterone levels, which is good for everyone. The best part is it's completely safe to use, even in larger doses. Just making one note, if you're pregnant, and I'll come to that, and it's even safe for children. So these are now the specific hormone benefits for women. It has fertility benefits. If you're trying to conceive, it's going to be clearing toxins from your system that may be preventing pregnancy. It can strengthen the uterine wall, which may increase the chances of embryo implantation and reduces the chance of early miscarriage. If you're pregnant, it can strengthen and tone the uterus. You just want to be careful and maybe talk to your doctor before use. This particular woman who's talking about her experience using it during pregnancy, labor, and postpartum, she used it during one pregnancy and not during another. She was overusing it during one of her pregnancies and noticed some cramping. And when she cut back her use, then that was relieved. So that's the note about pregnancy. For labor, it can actually reduce the duration of your labor, shorten the length of it, and make your contractions more productive. Let me see. And then after pregnancy, for postpartum, it can decrease postpartum bleeding and increase milk production. It may also regulate hormones, which can fluctuate wildly in the postpartum period and could decrease the risk of severity of postpartum depression. So very important. You can brew it hot or cold. I'm enjoying it hot tonight. And so hopefully those are a few reasons that I can see why I would recommend this beautiful tea. Cheers to you. And let's dig in to the rest of our hormone healthy content. This is actually our second in a series of 3 classes that our team is offering this summer on women's health. The first class was general health. That's already been recorded for you. You can find it on this Facebook page or YouTube channel. This is our second class, and our third class coming up will be dedicated to self-care. So whether you're seeing those in person or online, I want to give benefit to you for participating and invite you to join us in an essential oil lifestyle. If you're attending the classes live, you don't want to miss part 3, which is coming up Tuesday, August 20th at 7 p.m. in Worthington, Ohio. And you want to either bring your punch card or collect a punch card that night. You can earn punches by attending, bringing friends, and enrolling. And then we're going to give away tons of amazing prizes. But I didn't want to leave out my online friends. So if you're watching this in August of 2019, then I want to invite you to just a special promotion that our team is offering. Greg and I are personally offering this month. If this is your month to enroll and you're not working with another wellness advocate, you don't already have your own membership, if you join our team with a 100-point enrollment, and that would be a personal enrollment for Greg or me, then we are going to gift to you a custom roller ball and the reference book of your choice. And I'm going to be highlighting a variety of reference books as we talk tonight. You can choose from any of those and then a couple more. You just reach out to me and let me know. I can help you figure out what the choices are and which one would be best for you. But we'll do a custom roller ball, one we're going to highlight during the class tonight. Maybe that's of interest. And then you get to choose your own book. And you can choose whatever enrollment kit you want. All of them would qualify for the 100-point enrollment, or we can help you design your own enrollment package, whether that be a hormone rescue, a back-to-school kit, a self-care package, whatever speaks to you in this season of life, we can help you design those. We actually have classes coming up that would be tailored to all 3 of those that I just mentioned. So you're watching Healthy Hormones right now. If you're interested in those other topics, either look on the page, search the YouTube channel, and you can learn about those as well. You can look for the upcoming live classes or recordings to learn about those topics. And those are the Healthy Hormones, self-care, and back to school. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a second to do that. And we'll use this presentation to guide our conversation this evening. Perfect. So here we are with Healthy Hormones. And I want to open our class tonight with a reading of a beautiful scripture. You can either close your eyes if you want or follow along with me on the screen. My sisters, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them and health to one's whole body. That's Proverbs 4:20 through 22. And so over the course of the class this evening, I'd like to invite you to pay attention, as the scripture advises, to 3 different things. First, what hormone challenges are you personally facing? What are the symptoms that you're bumping into either on a daily basis or a monthly basis? And I ask you to do this, just call to the forefront of your mind, what's personal for you, because I'm going to cover so much information over the next approximately 1 hour that I don't want you to be overwhelmed by it. I want you to have in the forefront of your mind what's most important, what's pressing or coming up for you, so that when I talk about that specifically, you can link to it right away and say, okay, this is for me. This is what I really want to pay attention to. Of course, you might want to take notes on all of it, but that may be one that you want to really highlight for yourself and come back to it when we're done. Next, I would like you to close your eyes for just a minute. Once your eyes are closed, I'd like you to imagine something that could bring health to you and your whole body. Something that could bring about a shift or a change in you. Something that could help your body, your mind, or your spirit move toward wholeness. What would that look like for you? Keeping in mind those challenges that you personally are facing, what would that look like for you? What would that feel like if you had health and wholeness in your body? All right, now keeping that in mind, I want you to open your eyes and simultaneously open your heart and your mind to receiving new information, to receiving the possibility that there are natural solutions grounded in science and scientific research, proof, evidence that would support you in your wellness. And so with that, I want to ask you this question. Do you want to be well? And I ask this in almost all of my classes because this was the question that really changed the trajectory of my life. And this was the question that Greg asked me in prayer almost 10 years ago now, during one of my lowest moments. I was literally flat out on the floor. I felt miserable. And he leaned over me in prayer, and this booming voice came out of him twice in a row. Do you want to be well? And I responded. I said yes. And normally I would use this exercise or this example to talk about how I dealt with Epstein-Barr and mono and eczema, compromised immune system, all the mystery illnesses and symptoms that I experienced. But for the purposes of this class tonight, I want to zero in on some of those hormone-related experiences that I was having. Infertility, chronic PMS, maybe even PMDD, mood swings, very low energy, fatigue, depression. These used to dominate most of my month. Now time will tell if I've become more fertile, because we're always open to new life, a pregnancy, if that would be God's will in our family. We're completely open to that, but we just haven't had that evidence yet. But I can tell you, I'm a living, breathing proof that everything else I've just listed has reversed. All of my symptoms, based on what I have learned in the daily health choices that I now make, all of those other things have been reversed. My monthly cycle it's a dream come true compared to what I've experienced in my past. Debilitating symptoms, horrible cramps that oils wouldn't touch. Early on I was dabbling in oils, but I was still using multiple doses of Aleve each day. I was experiencing nausea and diarrhea. I had to miss work, multiple days just laying in the bed, not myself, just absolutely feeling horrible. And now my experience is just like night and day. I have energy. I do not have debilitating cramps to even let me know that it's coming. And so it's a little bit of a surprise. And then it only really lasts about a day and a half, maybe 48 hours tops from start to finish. And manageable flow, not the accident causing craziness that I used to experience. And by the way, as I'm going into all this information, obviously this class is meant for the ladies. If you're a guy tuning in, just fair warning that these are some of the topics that we're going to get into tonight. We are going to talk about our monthly cycle, menstruation, all the way through menopause. And so you're absolutely welcome to join us if you're a guy, but just know that this is some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about tonight, and some of the amazing change that can happen if we're open to it. And so that do you want to be well, that question is rooted in scripture. That's John 5:6. It's the man by the pool who Jesus said, pick up your mat and walk. And I love that as an invitation for us to participate in our own healing. Jesus, healed in so many different ways, but in this instance where he asked the question, do you want to be well? He gave that guy an opportunity to say yes, to participate. Pick up your mat and walk. He had to literally reach down, pick himself up off the ground, and walk forward to take that first step. And so that's the invitation that is available to each of us. Hippocrates said it as well. If someone wishes for good health, one must first ask oneself if he is ready to do away with the reasons for his illness. Only then is it possible to help him. And so if that's the place where you are, if you're feeling ready to pick up your mat and walk, if you're feeling ready to take those first steps and participate in your own health and wellness, then we're going to get along really well. And this is the place for you. So let's jump in. We're going to lock arms together as sisters, and we're going to begin with just a brief primer on hormones. And I am not a doctor, but I'm going to do my best to convey to you in bite-sized chunks what I've learned about hormones and hormone health from a variety of really great, reliable resources, and present that in a way that you can understand it, digest it, and move forward with some decisions for your own life. So let's do this together. Here's our primer agenda or outline. What we want to do is participate in our own wellness first by learning and starting to put some of the pieces together of what can feel like a puzzle. So what are our hormones exactly? What are some of the common disruptors and drivers that create the imbalance of hormones that maybe some of us are feeling in our bodies, minds, and spirits? And then what are those foundations of hormone health that we can use to start building on? What are hormones? A hormone is a chemical messenger transported in the blood from one cell to another. And if you've attended my essential emotions classes before, you're aware that we already know of two other chemical messengers, and those are our emotions and our essential oils. And this is why our essential oils work so well in our bodies, because they are chemical messengers. They function like our hormones do. They function like our emotions do naturally in our bodies. Our bodies know what they're made of, they recognize them, and they can use them naturally to support the miracles, the divine design that our bodies are. And this is why it is so important that the experts at doTERRA are not simply aromatherapists putting together amazing smelling blends. Now, the good news is that they do that too. But the best news is that they're actually botanists and biologists and physiologists. They're scientists and chemists. I forgot chemists. Creating these amazing products that help us, in my opinion, in the way that God intended. So a lot of the information coming into this presentation, I need to give credit to Dr. Hill, who was doTERRA's former chief medical officer and is now our chairman of scientific operations. And so just a couple other points on this slide. From birth to death, almost every cell in your body is impacted in some way by hormones. That's how important they are. Overall, there are 50 different types, but 3 main categories. And those 3 main categories of hormones are steroids, amino acid derived, and peptides and proteins. And I just say that for your general information. And I have this cute little chart here, and forgive my charts. These are just rudimentary little charts that I put together for us to capture copious notes that I've taken during different presentations that Dr. Hill has offered during the past 9.5 years of my tenure with doTERRA. And so I've tried to organize these notes so that you can look at them briefly and just get a little taste of what he's been offering. And so this shows a full picture of where our hormones come from in the body and what they do. Because a lot of times, if you're like me, you think hormones and your brain goes directly to those that are the sexual development and function hormones. The estrogen, the testosterone, and the progesterone. And we are going to talk about those tonight, but I just want you to understand that they fit into this way bigger picture of hormones that actually travel all through our body, produced by a variety of organs and glands, floating through our bloodstream, impacting the insides and outsides of our cells. And while they're so big and widespread and encompassing our entire bodies and minds, even very small amounts of our hormones can create significant physiological events and reactions in our bodies. And so if you've ever experienced a really quick shift from hot to cold or cold to hot, however you may experience that. And I could be talking about mood. I could be talking about your opinion on a subject. I might be talking about your body temperature. Regardless, any of those things, if you've experienced quick shifts in any of those realms, then once again, you are in the right place. We are talking about hormones. And what if you had the tools to help bring those quick shifts, hot to cold, cold to hot, into balance? What if you had a natural solution to help you balance those shifts? What a gift that would be, right? And so we're going to do this slide twice. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I've got a whole list of things that I want you to pay attention to here on the left. On this slide, we're going to focus solely on age progression, because simply by virtue of us aging, we are going to experience a natural decline in those 3 sexual development and function hormones that I mentioned previously: estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And you can see on the chart there, and again, this is just my rudimentary picture that I've created here for us. But on average, as a woman ages, she's naturally going to decline in her production of estrogen and then testosterone. And because of all these things on the left, unfortunately, our progesterone is going to decline as well. And now on the next slide, we're going to look at why that is so significant. And so notice that list on the left has stayed the same. Here is estrogen and progesterone together, because we're talking about women, and so these two are going to be our dominant ones. These two are going to be the main event for us. And so a normal estrogen progesterone balance through the early years of our life looks like that picture on the left there. So the estrogen is the taller column with progesterone below. Now, as we shift into later age, ideally, as our estrogen naturally declines, we would want our progesterone to come up in inverse proportion to that estrogen, so we stay in this balance. Scientists have realized that the balance that works between estrogen and progesterone is one of inverse proportion. And so, unfortunately, now we're going to look at this list on the left. Because our circumstances are not ideal, and that's almost across the board for anyone who might be watching right now, we end up with not only reduced estrogen, but reduced progesterone. And starting in the 1960s, we as a society looked at that decline in estrogen as a deficiency, the root cause of our imbalance. And so the thought was through hormone replacement therapy to boost that estrogen back up. And so synthetic versions of estrogen were then injected into the body. What the medical community wasn't anticipating was the perfect storm of something called xenoestrogens that were coming in through all these other synthetic forms. And if you look out on the left, things like toxicity and medications, maybe even birth control specifically in this case, are introducing lots of synthetics, these industrial compounds that were actually functioning in the body as estrogens. So they're not really estrogen, but they act like estrogen. And together with what our body was producing, the xenoestrogens and that were coming in, of their own accord, and then the hormone replacement therapy estrogens, we were ending up in estrogen dominance. And so estrogen dominance actually looks like very accentuated menopause symptoms. So over-exaggerated menopause symptoms. And so that's what people were experiencing as their normal. And this is not actually what we want. And so there are a few things we can do naturally to maintain a nice, healthy, albeit declined level of estrogen, which is actually more supportive to our body as we age, and an increased level of progesterone. And the first thing we can do is make some better lifestyle choices. So you might recognize those 4 things that you see under age progression there: poor nutrition, sedentary or lack of exercise, chronic stress, and toxicity. Those are all things that we can manage through our daily lifestyle habits and choices. We can eat better, we can use supplementation, we can move our bodies, we can address and manage our stress, we can get better rest and sleep at night, and we can look after our toxic load and make some better choices there. Then, in addition to that, and when you make those lifestyle changes, just continuing down the list, you're going to naturally have less infection, a boosted immune system, less inflammation, less adrenal stress, less need to take medication, and you'll be able to avoid that insulin resistance. So all of those are just going to start to fall away in response to those better lifestyle choices. Now, a couple of other things you can do. Let me introduce you to phytoestrogen. And this is a plant-based supplement that you can introduce to your body that naturally helps to combat those xenoestrogens that the best we can do, they're still going to slip into our bodies. Even if we're living, this amazing, healthy, natural life, just by virtue of environmental toxins and stress, they're going to end up in our bodies. The trouble with these xenoestrogens is that they block our cell receptor sites. They have an estrogenic effect on the body, but they're not actually hormones, chemical messengers. They don't belong in our bodies. And so instead of functioning like our hormones and our essential oils and our emotions do in our bodies, free-flowing, communicating effectively with our cells, these guys just take up space. They block our cell receptor sites and they create dis-ease in the body. And so the beauty of these phytoestrogens is that they come in with a neutral effect. They do not have an estrogenic effect on the body, so they're not contributing to estrogen dominance. They're just helping. They're coming alongside, helping your body metabolize the estrogen that it does make in a really healthy way, and clearing those receptor sites so that the estrogen that you do have can communicate properly and so that your body functions optimally. And so just a quick primer review of why we don't want those xenoestrogens dominating in our body. They are strongly estrogenic. They damage our DNA and they proliferate cancer. Whereas our phytoestrogens are inactive as estrogens. They're neutral in the body and just supportive. They provide a clean metabolization of the estrogen that our body is naturally producing. It allows them to do what they're supposed to be doing, and they bring no side effects into the body. Beauty. And finally, we want to support that healthy level of progesterone. So how do we do that? We can use nutrition and supplementation, which I'm going to go over in a little bit more detail in a few minutes. We can look for plant sterols that exist in raw seeds and nuts and avocados, one of my favorites. They also exist in yams, one of our superfoods, the great sweet potato. And finally, if you're taking in a healthy dose of leafy green vegetables on a daily basis, that's going to help with proper liver support, which also helps all of the metabolization, release of toxins from the body in healthy, productive ways. So let's move on from that slide. And now where we want to land is in our foundations of hormone health. And I want to give credit to another major source of the wisdom in this presentation, and that is Dr. Marisa Snyder, who is author of the beautiful book, The Essential Oils Hormone Solution. And if you're attending live to part 3 of this class in Columbus in August of 2019, then you have an opportunity to win this book. And if you're watching this recording in August of 2019, then this is one of the books you may choose if you decide to enroll with Greg and me this month. And so I just want to give a quick overview of this book. She goes into more detail into essential oils and hormones and how they work so beautifully together in the body, beyond what I just touched on, as far as they're both chemical messengers and how they function. So she goes into more detail in that for you. Then she goes into a lot of detail about specific things you can do to address those symptoms. And I won't read that full list, but you can see they're all there. All the things that, pick 1 or 2 or 3 that are highlights for you. She is going to cover those with very specific protocols, essential oils, natural ways to combat those and bring you back to health and wholeness. She includes a 14-day rescue plan that's complete with menu, essential oils, of course, self-care, all the different things that you want to do to rescue yourself from hormone distress, live a healthy whole life. And that's all based on what she calls the 5 pillars of foundational lifestyle. And guess what her 5 pillars emulate? Hello, the doTERRA Wellness Pyramid. And in all my classes, I talk about the wellness period over and over, pyramid, over and over, because these are the foundations of our health. And I love that we're called wellness advocates, not essential oil advocates, because that gives us the picture, the full picture of what it means to be a healthy human. Not just, oh, I have an oil for that, which of course we do. But as we participate fully in our own health, it's in all these different ways. And so I highlight all the different ways in a number of different styles, depending on which class I'm teaching. But I want to get a drink because I'm going to focus on eating right, this building block, this foundation of nutrition and supplementation. And I really want to highlight, now I teach a full hour class on the benefit of our Lifelong Vitality Pack, which is the first 3 bottles you'll see there, the Alpha CRS Plus, the Z Omega, and the Microplex VMZ. However, tonight I want to say just a couple words about each one of these amazing supplements, and I'm going to throw an extra one in there because they have tremendous value for your hormone health. And so first I want to talk about the Microplex VMZ. And so it's got B vitamins that help reduce both perceived stress levels and biochemical markers of stress. The beta carotene, vitamins E, B6, and magnesium all stimulate progesterone production. And so there's one of the things that we're looking for. What is a natural way that we can support healthy progesterone production in our bodies to keep that estrogen progesterone balance in check? Here's an awesome way. This Microplex VMZ, your vitamins and minerals portion of our supplement pack. Then let's briefly look at the Alpha CRS Plus. These cellular components help us metabolize properly, and it works hand in hand with our phytoestrogen supplement, which I will highlight that in just a couple minutes. But it hits on that key of metabolization. So our body's going to naturally still produce some estrogen. It's just really important that as our body produces it, we're able to metabolize it. If our body is so stressed out and toxic, then it doesn't have the time or the energy or the ability to metabolize what we're making properly. And so that's where the estrogen just falls flat and those xenoestrogens take over. We do not want that to happen. So this assistance that the Alpha CRS Plus gives us for proper metabolization is incredible. Then we want to move on to the Z-omegas. These are our polyunsaturated fatty acids that support natural bone growth and repair. One of the downsides of progressing into menopause is that just natural decline of our body's ability to sustain and repair our bones. And so this natural support for bone growth and repair is really critical. Then let me just highlight, let's see what's next there, Terrazyme. This is our digestive enzyme, and it in general all the time just helps us obtain the maximum nutritive value from the foods that we eat. So when we talk about proper nutrition, if we're eating those things like raw nuts and seeds or avocados or yams, we want to get the maximum nutritive value out of each of those foods. And so Terrazyme helps us do that. And it even helps if you're eating a less healthy meal to get whatever you can out of, say, a random pizza dinner or something like that. Let's look at PV Assist Plus, which is the last one in our graphic there. And this is our probiotic and prebiotic. And this helps us because healthy intestinal microflora, again, improves our metabolism of estrogen and phytoestrogen. So it's jumping in with that alpha CRS to improve our metabolism and support our natural estrogen and the phytoestrogen that we're feeding ourselves. And finally, I want to highlight a favorite supplement of mine, which is Mito2 Max. And I started taking it for energy, just to boost my energy and give me that little extra something that I need each day, in addition to the Lifelong Vitality Pack. But it's more than just energy. Let me read to you. This is calming and balancing, helping to produce a proper stress response, normal cortisol levels, reducing fatigue, irritability, and sleeplessness, and improving concentration. Now, to me, that sounds like a menstruation and menopause best friend. So, cannot recommend the Mito2 Max highly enough. Hopefully, you heard a few things there that would be of benefit to you. And when you're feeling that amazing because you're giving your body what it needs to support your total health as well as especially your hormone health, then I would suggest that you start to feel like a superwoman. And so let me introduce you to an amazing blend that is covered in detail in Dr. Maurice's book. And this is the Superwoman blend. And I would invite you to embrace your inner Superwoman tonight. And so what we're going to do, what she recommends that we do, is use this beautiful oil blend. This is one that you might choose as a custom blend as our gift to you if you enroll with us this month. I'm going to give you the details of what goes into the blend if you want to make it yourself. And we're going to talk through the different oils that are part of this blend and how they contribute to you feeling like a superwoman. But what she recommends is that each day as you put this Superwoman blend on, is that you stand in your power. You actually strike a pose, do that Superwoman. Let me see if I can stand up and, it's this. Hands on your hips, standing with your head held high. You can just picture Superwoman with her cape flowing. That's how I want you to feel. And I want you to adorn yourself with the truth, anoint yourself with the oil, and then walk forward in your power because you are Superwoman. You have this within you, and we are just accentuating it. We're just bringing it out. So have some fun with it. And if you're looking for scripture or affirmations to recite while you're standing in this powerful pose and anointing with this oil, let me just tell you, check out Proverbs 31. You probably know this woman, but I'm just going to treat you. Let me grab my phone. It's on the charger over here. And I am going to flip to Proverbs 31 and just give you a flavor. Not everybody loves affirmations, but let me just tell you, I think they're rooted in scripture. Affirmations, don't get hung up on it. It's truth. And so consider these truths. What if you were to stand up, do your Superwoman pose, and say these things to yourself in the mirror? How would this make you feel? I am a wife of noble character. Or you could say woman, however you want to do that. I am worth far more than rubies. My husband has full confidence in me. I lack nothing of value. I bring him good, not harm, all the days of my life. I work with eager hands. I bring food from afar. I get up while it is still night. I provide food for my family and portions for my servants. I consider a field and buy it. Out of my earnings, I plant a vineyard. I set about my work vigorously. My arms are strong for my tasks. I see that my trading is profitable. My lamp does not go out at night. In my hand, I hold the distaff and grasp the spindle with my fingers. I open my arms to the poor. I extend my hands to the needy. When it snows, I have no fear for my household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. I make coverings for my bed. I am clothed in fine linen and purple. My husband is respected at the city gate. I make linen garments and sell them. I supply the merchants with sashes. I am clothed with strength and dignity, and I can laugh at the days to come. I speak with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on my tongue. I watch over the affairs of my household and do not eat the bread of idleness. My children arise and call me blessed, and my husband also praises me. Many women do noble things, but I surpass them all. Those are some powerful affirmations, my sisters. And so if you are looking for something to say in the mirror, no matter what your life goals are in this season, I think you just found plenty of fodder there to work with. And that's just one scripture. So I invite you to dive in and find the words that ring true for you and tell them to yourself on a regular basis. And if you so choose, you stand in that Superwoman pose and you put your oils on and you walk forward in strength and dignity and health. I support you in that. And so let's look at the oils that are featured in this blend, each of which can be amazing oils on their own as well. First is Clary Sage, And they're all these beautiful plants too. So I had to feature these beautiful pictures for us to just enjoy the physical beauty of looking at just how lovely nature is and how it's designed to come alongside and support us in such a lovely way. I've never looked at a bottle of medication in that way, whereas I can appreciate these plants and just say, oh, how beautiful. So this is Clary Sage. And when you see the words clarity and vision, or if I say the oil of clarity and vision, then I just want to highlight that's coming from this book, which I'll read to you before our time is up. It's called Emotions and Essential Oils. And this is one of the books you can choose if you want to sign up with us. And I would give you that for free if that's your choice. And I also want to say that pretty much every oil in this blend could be called soothing or grounding. It's just really restorative and comforting, but I've chosen one highlight word to associate with each of the oils. So for Clary Sage, we're going to go with soothing. But here are some of the various properties: anticonvulsant, antispasmodic, nerve tonic, sedative, soothing, tonic, and warming. And so you can see why it has its place in this blend. And if you're making a 10 milliliter roller ball, then you're going to add 12 drops of Clary Sage. And one little highlight I want to give about Clary Sage is that in the Modern Essentials book, and I'll just highlight this one real quick. This is my handbook version, which is so handy. It's the soft cover, and I love this one. Obviously, the hardcover is amazing. It has all the research and the studies listed out. So if you're looking for those scientific references, you may want your hardbound. But when I travel and do classes and the like, I love just the softbound handbook version because it still has all the information that I need to reference the oils, look up ailments, and learn. So in the Modern Essentials book, it talks about the history of Clary Sage and how it was called the oil of clear eyes. And so that kind of makes me chuckle a little bit. It helps me remember what Clary Sage is good for, because my cramps used to be so bad, I would say I can't even see straight. And so to think about Clary Sage as the oil of clear eyes, it helps me eliminate that pain. And I like to go through and do a reminder of the different ways we can use our essential oils. So while I'm on Clary Sage, I want to talk about how we use oils topically. And so this is a great one to rub directly on your abdomen if you're experiencing menstrual cramps. This is a great topical oil. This one is not a hot oil, so you can use it neat. It's floral, it's gentle. But if you want to just use a drop or two effectively and use it over a larger area, you can pair it with a carrier oil, like our fractionated coconut oil, or if you have a grapeseed or a jojoba in your pantry, those are wonderful as well. And when we dilute an oil to spread it over a larger area, we are not reducing the efficacy of that oil. We are just slowing the absorption rate into the skin. But covering a larger area, it's reducing the impact if it's a hot oil like oregano or a cold oil like peppermint, and so it's not causing a sensitivity on our skin. So Clary Sage is a great example of a topical oil. And I do have all my oils here with me, and this is Clary Sage, and these are all these beautiful pastel bottles. Not a huge fan of all of these floral smells, but over time they've grown on me. And I think it's been because of my appreciation for what they do for the body. I more and more as time goes on am tolerant and even appreciative of the smells, and I start to enjoy them. So Clary Sage is very floral. And I'm reminded that I did not highlight at the beginning of the class. I've got a few oils going behind me. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can just see the little tippity top of my diffuser there. I've got this delicious diffuser blend going, and so I'm just going to interrupt myself for a second and tell you about Citrus Summer Remix. And we're going to highlight a couple of the oils in this blend, which is why I chose it. These are Passion, bergamot, and lime. So this is Citrus Summer Remix. It's 1 drop of passion, 2 drops of bergamot, and 3 drops of lime. And I will post a cute little graphic under this class so that you can take that blend with you. It's just a delicious summer blend, and it brings together several of the oils that we're going to talk about over the course here that you might just want to have diffusing in your office. It smells amazing, and it's going to do wonderful things for your body, your mind, and spirit as well. And so next we're going to talk about lavender. It's another beautiful purple bottle of oil. And I've always loved lavender. Now, synthetic lavender, for whatever it's worth, if you find it in a shampoo or a soap or candle or whatever, synthetic lavender just always smelled, I don't know, like a horrible old lady smell to me. Not something that I was drawn to in any way, but from day one, I have loved doTERRA's lavender. There's just an absolute sweetness to it that I find, in addition to the floral notes, that just does not exist in anything synthetic. And it just really draws me to this. I use lavender constantly on my skin and in my body to support me in so many ways. I've used calming to describe it, but its properties are analgesic, anticonvulsant, anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, anti-tumor, sedative, and calming. And I could go on and on. I'm just highlighting the properties for the purpose of this class, the ones that really speak to some of our hormonal needs. But lavender is balancing to the entire body. It's going to work wherever there is a need. Your body's just going to use it in so many different ways. We call it the Swiss Army knife of oils. When in doubt, get your lavender out. In our emotions book, it's known as the oil of communication and calm. It not only calms the mind, but it helps you formulate your thoughts, what you want to say, and then project those so that people can understand you. So there's some hormonal reference there too. And lavender is one of our oils that you can use internally. When you look at our bottle and you see supplement facts, you can see it there as part of the label. Hey, there you go. When you see supplement facts as part of the label, then you know it's safe to be ingested. And we'll talk about doTERRA in our standard for purity in a couple slides from now. I would never recommend you ingest any other brand of oil because I need you to be able to trust what's inside that bottle. You'll find, especially lavender oil, pretty much anywhere. Grocery store, health and wellness stores, but even at like home goods stores and things like that at this point. And you see ridiculous things like warning labels on the side of a lavender bottle or a safety cap. And, do not ingest. Those are all red flags because lavender is so gentle and so safe. It can be used on infants and children, even undiluted. There's no reason that you should have such alarm over a bottle of lavender unless that company knows that it's contaminated or adulterated in some way. And so you always want to use an oil that you can trust, and then follow the instructions on the bottle to make sure that you're internalizing it safely. Some ways that you want to bring oil into your body: you can drop them under your tongue. You can add them to water. I also have my water bottle over here at the ready. It should be glass or stainless steel, or if you want to drop a drop of oil into coffee, tea, or hot chocolate, then a ceramic mug is great for that. You can also use a veggie capsule and put a couple drops of oil. If you don't like the flavor of an oil, just need to get it into the body effectively, a veggie cap is a great way to do that. You can add a drop or two to honey, take it on a teaspoon as well. Lots of different ideas. You're going to add 10 drops of lavender if you're making that roller ball of your Superwoman blend. Next is cedarwood. And for me, this is one of my all-time favorite oils. This is the one that balances all those florals, and we're calling it the balancing, but you could also call it grounding. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love cedarwood. Some people smell a smokiness to it, but I honestly, I just go right to the bark of the cedarwood tree, or to a cedar closet, or a cedar box. This conjures amazing memories for me, with my grandfather, who smoked cigars, which you shouldn't do, but he kept them in a little cedar treasure box that I got to play with all the time. And so just opening that little treasure chest made of cedar, just released that smell, which triggers those fond memories of times we spent together. So cedarwood is actually my choice for a bedtime oil. I love to put it on the back of my neck, or just sprinkle a little bit on my pillow or sheets, or diffuse it so that I'm able to breathe that in while I sleep. Some of the properties of cedarwood are diuretic, calming, sedative, and it's an enhancer. And so it actually helps bring out the properties of all the other oils that you're going to blend it with. It relieves tension. It can support your yoga practice. It also supports rest. As I mentioned, a great night's sleep. Cedarwood is the oil of community. And so I just picture that beautiful photo of the women from the beginning of the presentation, all locked arms. If you're feeling in your hormonal stuff, like you're alone, like you're the only one who doesn't have her stuff together, who's just struggling through life, treading water, barely keeping her head above water, you're not alone. That's a lie of the enemy. You're absolutely in this together with amazing, strong women just like you, all trying to figure this out one step at a time. We are in community, and we are here to support one another. And cedarwood is an absolutely beautiful reminder to us of that. It's great for diffusing. So I'm going to talk about aromatic uses of oils. You can have a diffuser like mine going in the background. We all have a built-in diffuser right here. You can just drop a drop or two of your favorite oil in your palms and just take a deep inhale and breathe that in and enjoy it. If you don't have a diffuser and you want to enjoy the oil spread over a larger amount of space, you might drop a drop or two on just a paper towel or an unscented dryer sheet and lay that in your room vent. And so if either your air conditioning or your heat turns on, then it will come up through and diffuse that oil into a specific room. If you want to target a room with a specific oil, or if you want to do something whole house, we love Purify or On Guard on the furnace filter. And that way, when any of your HVAC kicks on, it will diffuse that oil throughout your whole house. So it's really great for purifying the air, purifying your environment, killing germs and bacteria that are hovering around in the air. You're going to drop 5 drops of cedarwood into your Superwoman blend. Geranium is next, and we're using the word refreshing for geranium, but its many properties include anticonvulsant, anti-inflammatory, diuretic, refreshing, relaxing, sedative, tonic, and it's also an enhancer. And let me just say, geranium has never been one of my favorites either. You'll hear me say this about a number of florals. But I also am starting to get that sweetness out of it. You know, when you talk about properties that are both sedative and refreshing at the same time, isn't that what we need for hormonal balance? Like, you just picture yourself crying on the floor thinking, what do I need? I need to calm down, and I need to pick myself up at the very same moment. This is what our hormones do to us. And so an oil like geranium that calms your nerves, your very tissues, and it's also refreshing and uplifting, that could be just the very thing you need. So this is the oil of love and trust from our emotions book. And so I want to use that to say that geranium is just a great oil to introduce the topic of safety. We want to use our oils safely. We never want to put them up our nose, in our eyes, in our ear canal. We want to be really careful with photosensitive oils, like a lot of citrus oils. We don't want to wear them on our skin and then go out in this direct sunshine, because then we could get a rash or a sensitivity to our skin. And we just want to be careful if we're using our oils with infants, toddlers, children, pets, the elderly. We may want to dilute them more so than if we're just using them on ourselves as an average adult. So just keeping in mind, just our wisdom, our good sense that these are powerful and potent tools that we're using, and we want to use them with respect and honor them for what they can do for us and use them in a safe way. And so because this is a safe environment, I want to talk to you about something really intimate and special. My friend Rosanna, who's one of the leaders of Team Share and Shine, has created and gifted this beautiful gift that she calls the Flower for Your Flower. And this is a cooling and restorative pad that you can use postpartum right after childbirth as soon as you want. She layers witch hazel and the beautiful geranium oil on this pad that she then freezes in her freezer. And it just is so cooling and relieving. And let me just read to you a little bit about what geranium does and why you would want to experience that down there right after childbirth. So it helps with heavy menstrual flow or bleeding. It helps with hemorrhoids, inflammation, any type of skin issue, and regenerating tissues and nerves. So think about how soothing, refreshing, and calming this could be postpartum for you, even right after giving birth. So I love that idea, and I love sharing it in the safety of women getting together, talking about how we might bless each other. What an amazing gift that she gives. And she's even known for gathering women. She's happens to be pregnant right now with her 5th child. She's so amazing and good at being pregnant and loving on women while they're pregnant, and just blessing them. I know she's going to be getting together soon to put together some of these beautiful gifts. If you're interested in a gathering like that, reach out and let us know, and we can help with the materials you would need to organize your own event, or if you'd like to come to one of ours. And then finally, this is the last oil in the Superwoman blend. This is Lang Lang, or you can pronounce it Ylang Ylang if you like. This oil we're going to call lifting, but its properties include antidepressant, antiseptic, antispasmodic, sedative, and tonic. It's known as the oil of the inner child in the emotions book. It's aphrodisiac, it's calming, it helps you cry. It helps with exhaustion, fear, hair loss, hormone imbalance, libido, stress, and tension. So if there were any of these 5 oils that I would feel like I wanted to use on a daily basis, oh my gosh, I think it's this one. Lang Lang is in this beautiful blue bottle, my favorite. Totally matches our presentation for tonight. Let me just open this up. Oh, and take a deep smell. Lang Lang is one of my absolute favorite florals, and that wasn't always the case, and it has so grown on me. I absolutely, absolutely love it. I feel like drinking it right now, but I won't. It does have supplement facts, so if you want to ingest it, you can. I'm going to, hold back in this moment. But here is Lang Lang. And so I want to talk about daily use. We obviously want to use our oils daily, and this would be a great choice for that because of all the amazing things that it does for us. As women, as people who are interested in balancing our hormones, and just as human beings in general, dealing with all the things that life throws at us. Who doesn't want to connect more readily to our inner child and come back to that place of peace, of freedom, of joy, that is what is waiting for you in that lovely little bottle of Lang Lang. So we are going to add 4 drops of that to our Superwoman blend. And then we're going to want to top that roller bottle with fractionated coconut oil or the carrier oil of your choice. And so I just want to touch briefly. We normally cover in an introductory class our CPTG standard, which is certified pure therapeutic grade, in our source to you reference very thoroughly in an intro class. But tonight, I just want to touch on them briefly. So why do we trust doTERRA versus these other brands that are out there? We want our oils to be absolutely pure, obviously, if we're ingesting them, but even if we're putting them on our bodies, even if we're breathing them in, they're still coming into our bodies and they're moving through our bodies. So you don't want anything toxic or impure having that effect on you. So the absolute highest quality standard is what you want, and that's what doTERRA has to offer. Our CPTG is verified by third party. A very strict battery of tests is adhered to. And then in addition, our oils are absolutely potent. I've already talked about we don't want any contaminants, we don't want any adulteration happening, but we have to depend that these oils that are plant-based are potent and they're consistent over time. These are plants. Just like all of us are creating God's image, these plants are growing. Yeah, maybe it's a whole field of lavender, but they're individual plants. They might not all look exactly the same. They might not all smell exactly the same, just like there are variants into each of us as women. And so how do we guarantee that over the course of time, this bottle of lavender and that bottle of lavender from doTERRA have that same quality that we've learned to expect and to trust, so that they're going to have that same impact in our bodies, on our hormones that we need. And so part of that is our co-impact sourcing effort. And if you go to source2you.com, you'll find 2 parts of that site. One is any bottle of oil that you pick up is going to have a batch code on the bottom. So you can search that batch code on the one half of the site, and it's going to give you access to all the GCMS reports that associate with that batch. So you're going to see that CPTG standard in action. Then on the other side of the Source to You website, you're going to find these absolutely beautiful stories of how we partner with the growers and the distillers all around the world where our plants grow indigenously. Because obviously we're the largest essential oil company in the world. We could afford to buy up land and grow all of our own stuff. But that in no way would be as valuable as working where these plants grow indigenously on our planet with the people who have been loving and caring for and processing these plants for generations. And so we connect person to person with these beautiful souls who have a very shared, invested interest in the plants, in their sustainability, as well as their their use, their productivity in the world, and we partner with them to bring these forward to us. So we not only provide economic development, we're obviously doing fair wages and paying them year round so that they can budget and they don't have to do other odd jobs during the times of year where it's not the growing season or the harvesting season. They can count on this income all year long. But we also support them because if you think about some of the places in the world where these plants grow naturally, they're part of the third world. These people are in need of clean water, access to education, good medical care, and infrastructure. So we can come alongside and give back and provide those things. So an amazing reason to choose doTERRA over another competing brand. And finally, because this is our women's summer series, I just want to focus on how doTERRA empowers women. Whether it's Veronica, her story as one of our pink pepper harvesters from Kenya, or Hele, one of our jasmine growers in Egypt. We are reaching out and empowering these women around the world to do what their heart knows that they were designed to do, giving them that opportunity to do what they love. Consider the 1 million plus girls who benefit now from their monthly menstrual supplies, which come in the form of these beautiful kits from Days for Girls, because through our Healing Hands Foundation, doTERRA partners with the organization Days for Girls to lift up these young women around the world who, without these needed supplies, would have to miss school, miss work, miss out on life. And finally, consider the nearly 8 million wellness advocates and wholesale customers like myself being empowered as a natural health educator, down to just your average wholesale customer who, like when I started out, just wants to be healthier, just wants to understand what are some natural options available to me and my family. And doTERRA is coming alongside these women, no matter where they are, and saying, here are the tools. Here are the resources. You are empowered to be a part of your own health and wellness. Absolutely love all of those reasons. I hope you do too. So coming back to our framework of paying attention tonight, based in that Proverbs scripture that we started with, here's something to pay attention to. Don't believe everything you think. Something that I would invite you to consider tonight is that the more you engage in healthy habits, the harder it is to argue with the truth. And so what I'm going to introduce to you are just some additional oils and products that you might want to incorporate into your daily routines to support your overall health and definitely your hormone health. And so that as you say these statements, and we're going to say a few statements together, over time they become more and more true for you. So for instance, we're going to say on this first slide, we're going to say together, I am calm and cool. And what I want you to do is write down on a scale of 1 to 10 how true that feels for you right now in this moment. And then I want you to come back to that over time. So if this is one of those areas where you feel like, well, I need help with calming down and resting well, or I need help with keeping cool, then maybe there's a tool here that you're going to use. And say take 30 days or so and tell yourself over and over, I'm calm and cool, while you're using these amazing tools that are actually supporting you in becoming more calm and cool. And you know in your brain, you're giving yourself something that helps support you in being calm and cool. And so as you say it, it's resonating more and more. And it's just solidifying that truth in your body, in your mind, and in your spirit. So let's say together, I am calm and cool. And then just write down for your own benefit how that feels to you in this moment. And if you're getting a low number on the scale, then you might want to pursue one of these oils or products. First up, we have Roman chamomile. And I've got that here. This is another lovely floral oil, which again, I get such a sweetness. I love that when I smell the Roman chamomile. And this is calming and relaxing. And out of the Modern Essentials book, I loved reading. It gives a little historical reference, and it talks about how historically Roman chamomile was known to help empower you with courage for your battles. And so I just love that reference. I think of Roman chamomile, and I think of a Roman soldier, and I think of myself as a warrior, a prayer warrior, going into battle and just putting on my armor and maybe my breastplate of righteousness, and how Roman chamomile, as it helps me rest really well at night, I lay down with the soothing smell of Roman chamomile surrounding me. And as I rest during the night, I'm being prepared for those battles I know I'm destined to face the next day when I rise. And so I just love the concept of how all of that comes together and what Roman chamomile can do for you. So it's also the oil of spiritual purpose. And so that's from our emotions book. And so I love how the physical and the emotional converge there, so that as you rest well and you're prepared for battle so that you can shine forth in your spiritual purpose. That's just incredible. So who doesn't want some Roman chamomile? That's a pretty big endorsement there. And so let's take a step back or down maybe from this really, wow, amazing spiritual, lofty kind of oil, and look at good old peppermint. Peppermint is one of the top 3 oils I would always recommend to have in your collection. And this is great. It's so practical. This is the easiest oil to remember tonight. If you have ever had a hot flash, I sleep with this oil next to my bed. All you have to do is just put your finger on the top of the bottle, turn it upside down one time. It's not even a full drop, just gets your finger a little bit wet. Put it on the back of your neck, and it regulates your body temperature almost instantly. Ladies, let me tell you, if you've ever spent, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, I don't know, 3 years, it feels like forever in the middle of the night when that body temperature just goes up. You wake up in a dead sweat. You're like, I don't know, either stepping outside into the snow or sticking your head in the freezer, whatever you can think of to do to try to bring that body temperature down. It takes forever. Instead, just grab one simple drop of peppermint, swipe the back of your neck, almost instant relief. Give that a try. Very, very practical. It's also the oil of a buoyant heart. Love that. And so then I also want to feature, I want to spend just a couple of minutes time looking at our women's health kit. And this is something that you can choose on a monthly order, or you can order a la carte as you enroll. These 3 products together, this is our bone nutrient complex, our phytoestrogen essential complex, and you'll remember the word phytoestrogen when I talked about this is something that we need to support our body's natural estrogen production and to combat those xenoestrogens that are coming into our body. This is what you need right here. This will go alongside of your Alpha CRS from the LLV supplement pack and your Mito2max in helping to metabolize and support the estrogen that your body is naturally producing and combat those xenoestrogens that are sneaking in through every available opportunity. And then finally, we have our Clary Calm. So just a word on each of these. First of all, phytoestrogen. All ingredients have the ability to be this adaptogenic, nutrient-dense interference, competitive inhibition against the unwanted estrogenic effects in the body, helping us to balance naturally how the body reacts and responds. Beautiful. Phytoestrogen. Okay, let me speak for a minute about the bone nutrient. If this is used on a daily basis, then it's giving you all the critical elements you need to maintain good, healthy bone mass to support the body. This is calcium, vitamins D2 and D3, magnesium, and vitamin K. Incredible, all in one little pill. And then finally, our Clary Calm, which some people call period oil, but listen to what this little beauty does. It addresses hot flashes, hormone balance, menopause, menstruation, and PMS. So it's really everything women oil. And you can roll it on your abdomen, you can breathe it, you can put it on your pulse points, on the back of your neck, really do whatever you want with it. It's got Clary Sage, lavender, bergamot, Roman chamomile, cedarwood, lang lang, geranium, fennel, carrot seed, palmarosa, and vitex. And so perhaps you've heard almost every oil that we've talked about in tonight's class encapsulated in this one little roller ball for you. So may want to consider this little gem right here. And so that is I am calm and cool. Let's flash forward here to our next little affirmation. I am sensual and sexy. And so let's say this one out loud together. I want you to do this even if you're by yourself. I want you to do this. I want you to say it out loud and start to embody this truth. Because whether you feel it or not right in this moment, it's true. I promise you. And you're just going to write down how you feel in this moment on a scale of 1 to 10. So let's say it together. I am sensual and sexy. Yes. Yes, we are. And so the reason why I want to rest here for a moment is that we are not our symptoms. It's easy to get carried away with all the labels and the things that we feel like are wrong with us or less than. And that's just simply not who we are. We are women. Yes, we might be wives or daughters or mothers or whatever, but first and foremost, we're women. And as the divine feminine, we are sensual and sexual beings. That's how we were designed. And so I want to just highlight a few things that will support us in this area. I'm not going to hold up all the oils there. On the left, we've got rose, magnolia, jasmine, and beautiful. The first three are all obviously florals, and beautiful is a blend that combines some floral as well as citrus oils. These all work beautifully as pure fumes. And so if anybody uses perfume and you would rather swap that out for something that's less toxic, less likely to bring xenoestrogen into your body, then I highly recommend any of these as a pure fume. You can just roll them on your pulse points, your neck, breathe them in, and just wear those as a natural cologne during the day. And any of those are going to, in addition to just being beautiful aromatically, they're also going to serve as aphrodisiacs for you. And then passion, I want to highlight, and this is one that's in our blend that I'm diffusing tonight. This is passion right there. This is part of our emotional aromatherapy collection. They come in 5 milliliter bottles or 10 milliliter roll-ons. And I absolutely love this oil. It's got floral, it's got vanilla, it's got spice, a little bit of everything. So this helps you find your passion. And it's got cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, clove, sandalwood, jasmine, vanilla, and damiana. It's the oil of confidence, and one we feature in our Spice Up Your Life, or also known as Sexy class. So be sure to look for that coming up here in the fall as well. Love passion, whether you're wearing it topically or diffusing it. And finally, I want to land on neroli in this category. Neroli is the oil of shared purpose and partnership. And I just love how it brings together men and women. And so I'm just going to mention briefly what it talks about in the Modern Essentials book. I'm just flipping to it so I get the language correct. As I mentioned before, each oil is highlighted in this book, and it gives you a little bit of the historical significance of the oil. This book is such a fun resource to just sit with and just pick an oil and learn more about it. And so, okay, I can spell, I promise. Okay, there it is. I'm just flipping past it. Neroli, or orange blossom, has been regarded traditionally by the Egyptian people for its great attributes for healing the mind, body, and spirit. It brings everything into the focus of one and at the moment. And I love that concept of bringing it into the focus of one. And so something that I teach on in that sexy class is a concept that I actually picked up from my church. Let me grab a quick drink. So if man is created in in the image of God, and woman is created in the image of God, then you have the full, complete image of God when man and woman come together. Now, obviously, the most profound experience of oneness when a man and woman come together is through sexual intercourse. But I would also argue that God's plan was for men and women to come together in community, just in general, as brothers and sisters, partnering in business, in ministry, in service, in volunteerism, in family. Whatever aspect you want to envision, we're meant to be working together. And so Neroli is a great reminder of that union of both the divine masculine, the divine feminine, as it presents in man and woman coming together. And so I love Neroli as a reminder of that. Now, as a gift to you, keeping in mind this whole concept of we are not our symptoms, we are women, I want to give you, no matter where you land on the spectrum, whether you are younger in age and you're just entering menstruation, or that's where you're going to be for a little while, or if you're on the older age range of the spectrum and you're either in menopause or coming out of it, I have a gift for each of you tonight. So this, I don't even remember what podcast I was listening to. I'll try to find it and give credit in the comments. But I was listening to this great podcast for entrepreneurs and came across this section on 4 phases of menstruation. And this is brilliant. I'm just going to borrow that word because it's right in the top bullet point there. So, interesting fact. Men cycle every 24 hours. Women cycle roughly every 28 to however many days, depending on how you're wired. So, oh my goodness, doesn't it stand to reason why men would just seem to be more even or like themselves or personality-wise on a day-to-day basis? You know, we might have a couple bad days in a row because of whatever point we're in in our cycle, whereas men just seem to be constant and the same as far as their personality. Maybe their little bad moment happens while they're sleeping, or you know, it's just an hour or two and they take a break or rest or something, and then they're right back on track. Whereas we might be stuck in something for a little bit longer. And so what I think is genius about this whole thing is that if we have more knowledge, if we know, okay, where is my body in this moment? Where is my mind according to what my hormones are doing? And then let me, as much as I can, I mean, obviously this is not going to be completely within our control, but we're going to have this knowledge and we'll be able to a little bit more control what we're doing and when, so that we're taking advantage of these little mini seasons that we fall into over the course of the month. So the first one is follicular. This is our high energy, brilliant ideas time of our cycle. It's the week after our period, and it's kind of like springtime. It feels new. It feels like life. It feels like you're ready to go. That's followed by ovulation. During this little period of time, our brain is most verbal and fluent, and we become most attractive. This is kind of like our summer. And so this is when we want to be with people. We want to teach a class. We want to speak in front of a group. We want to have our big board meeting and really take advantage of the assets of this time in our cycle. That's followed by the luteal phase. This might be when we experience PMS if we do. We're turning within. Our brain is wired for detail orientation. So this is a great time to complete tasks, really hone in on what needs to get done and accomplish it. This is the longest of the 4 little mini seasons that we go through, depending on how long your cycle lasts. It could be as much as 10 days, and this feels like autumn to us. And then finally, the menstrual phase. This is when our left and right hemispheres are most cross-wired. We become the most intuitive, and this is when we have our greatest awareness of what needs to shift. This feels like winter. This feels like our most contemplative time. And so I love the fact that we can take advantage of this information now, try to figure out where we are and be more proactive about maximizing the time that we're in, the days that we're experiencing, and being our best and highest selves as often as possible. So I hope that's a gift to you. And then for those of us either approaching or going through menopause or maybe coming out on the other side of it, this is all for you. We are going to look at some of the myths of menopause, which are on the left, and then some of the truths of menopause, which are on the right. The first myth is that our ovaries and uterus shrivel up and die as we age. And this is so serious because so many women have listened to the advice that if you're past a certain age, these organs are no longer valuable to you. It's okay to have hysterectomies. It's okay to just rid the body of these organs that no longer serve us. And nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is that our ovaries and uterus actually begin to produce new hormones, ones that support the body as it's aging, against heart disease, against cancer, and against bone loss. We want these organs because they are intended to bring value to our bodies throughout our entire lifespan. And just as an example, prostacyclin is one of those hormones that gets produced later in life that serves the body in all of those ways: anti-heart disease, anti-cancer, pro-bone health. And it cannot be produced synthetically. There's no way we can get a hormone like that into our body if we don't have these organs. So just a tremendous benefit to us if you can keep those organs healthy and thriving inside the body throughout your entire life. Second, symptoms destroy a woman's personality. Women experiencing menopause left untreated become dull-minded and sharp-tongued. And that's just so short-sighted. As you've heard over the course of this presentation, there are so many tools available to us. Our symptoms can be managed. They can be managed naturally and in lovely ways, things that make us feel really good about ourselves and things that bring out our personalities and help us shine. And finally, there's this old mentality, and this came about in the 60s when all of the hormone replacement therapy and radical hysterectomies and all of that was coming into play. The mentality was that in the haze of longing and delusion, women lose touch with reality and develop a menopausal neurosis. This whole concept that menopause is a disease, it's something that's just a plague and that has to be overcome, and it's just this very negative thing. I wanted to show the truth to that statement on its own slide, because I want us all, no matter what age you are and no matter where you are on the spectrum, this either is now or eventually will be truth for every single one of us. Menopause should be regarded as a normal adjustment, reflecting a benign change in a woman's biological life, away from childbearing to a new period of personal fulfillment. And so no matter where we find ourselves on the menstruation to menopause spectrum, there is truth here for every single one of us, whether we are daughters or mothers or granddaughters, on and on and on. We are all women, all destined for a purpose and for personal fulfillment. And in this moment, we can say, I am balanced and whole. And that's the truth that I want us to all end with saying. Let's say it together, and remember to write down your 1 to 10 in this moment. How does it make you feel when you say out loud, I am balanced and whole? How true does that ring for you in this moment? Make a little note of that. And if you need support in that area, here are some things that I have for you. First, I want to talk about, I'm going to skip a little bit. I want to talk about Whisper, this powerhouse blend of femininity and positive relationships with women. Here you have it. This powerhouse blend is softening, it's an aphrodisiac, it fights frigidity and promotes hormone balance. And it includes patchouli, bergamot, Hawaiian sandalwood, rose, jasmine, cinnamon, vetiver, lang lang, labdanum, cocoa bean extract, and vanilla bean extract. So absolute powerhouse of oils there. One that you want to consider using daily, perhaps as a perfume, if you just need that overall balance of feeling whole as a woman, as the person that you were created to be, just giving you support. And if you need to pursue more positive relationships with women, it just supports that whole concept of us being in community together and linking arms and supporting one another and not feeling alone. Great companion to cedarwood. And so those might go really well together in a diffuser to just remind you that you're not alone and that you can have positive relationships with other women in your life. Beautiful choice for that. And in the middle there, you see the oils that are featured in our Aroma Touch technique. Whether you choose Aroma Touch for full body balance or homeostasis, or one of our Symphony of the Cells protocols, which helps target specific illnesses or diseases, symptoms, or systems of the body. These protocols bring about whole body balance and wellness. And those are both techniques that I'm certified in. If that's of interest to you, please reach out. I can provide more education on how those techniques, they're just essential oil applications, how those techniques can benefit you, and we can decide which one would be best for you. And finally, I want to end on bergamot. This is the last oil that we're going to talk about tonight, and it's another oil that I'm diffusing. This is bergamot. It's a citrus oil. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious. Very fresh and bright, uplifting, cleansing, citrusy scent. And bergamot is the oil of self-acceptance. And I want to read a little bit about bergamot from the Emotions and Essential Oils book, because I promised I would just read you a little bit from this book, and you'll get a flavor of how beautiful the language is, how supportive it is, depending on what you're looking for. And so the way this book is laid out, it gives a little bit of text, then it goes over the negative emotions that the oil will address, how it will replace those with positive properties, some companion oils if you want to compare it with, when to pair it with others, whether you're diffusing or creating a blend, and then some suggested uses. And so this is what this book looks like in its layout form. So bergamot is the oil of self-acceptance. And then from our Modern Essentials book, just before I go into the emotional, I want to also list out the physical, because they work hand in hand. It helps with digestion, it's antibacterial, it's uplifting and cleansing. It addresses stress, anxiety, and depression. So bergamot relieves feelings of despair, self-judgment, and low self-esteem. It supports individuals in need of self-acceptance and self-love. Bergamot invites individuals to see life with more optimism. Bergamot has a cleansing effect on stagnant feelings and limited belief systems because of core beliefs of being bad, unlovable, or not good enough. Folks seek to hide behind a facade of cheerfulness. They may fear revealing their true thoughts and feelings. Bergamot's powerful cleansing properties generate movement in the energy system, which in turn brings hope. In this way, bergamot is wonderful for those who feel down and hopeless. It awakens the soul to hope and offers courage to share the inner self, reigniting optimism and confidence in the self. It imparts true self-acceptance. Bergamot teaches individuals to let go of self-judgment by learning to love themselves unconditionally, and reminds us that wholeness is possible. I really hope that speaks to some of you, and invite you to bring some bergamot, bring some self-acceptance, and bring some optimism that wholeness is possible for you into your life. And so where I want to close this beautiful class is with the scripture that we started with. Feel free to close your eyes while I read to you. My sisters, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them, and health to one's whole body. As your wellness advocate, I'm always thinking about your health and wellness, and I'm always paying attention to the research and the resources that are out there that will best support you. I hope there are some new ideas and some natural solutions that caught your attention tonight. Let me know if you want to meet one-on-one to design your own wellness program. And I just want to thank you all for being here one last time, and remind you that our self-care part 3 in this Women's Summer Series is coming up live Tuesday, August 20th at 7 p.m. at Inner Wisdom Healing Center in Worthington, Ohio. Or if you're not local to Columbus, or if that's not a good night for you, then I'll also be broadcasting this live online Thursday, August 29th at 8 p.m. It'll be on the same page. And once again, if that's not a good time for you, it will be recorded at that time. And so you can either pick it up at a later date on this page or on our YouTube channel. And final reminder, if you are watching this presentation either live or recorded in August of 2019, you're not working with another wellness advocate and you don't have your own membership yet, and you would love to join our team as a personal enrollment of Greg's and mine, then we would love to bless you. As you place your 100-point enrollment order, we'd love to treat you to the custom roller blend of your choice and the reference book of your choice. And that would be a Modern Essentials handbook, an Oils and Emotions book, a Hormone solution book by Dr. Snyder that was highlighted during this presentation, the Oil Life book, or the Advanced Oil Magic book. All of those are favorites of ours. They all have their own amazing qualities. Depending on what you're looking for, we can help you choose which one is best for you. But we would love to gift you with an amazing resource as you begin your health and wellness journey as a doTERRA member. So let us know if that's you, and we'd be happy to put together the enrollment order or help you choose the kit that is best for you and your family. In the meantime, thank you so much for attending, and here's to your continued health and wellness, especially your hormone health. Have a great night and be well.